Hello and welcome to Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. Coming up, we have your 2023 All-Southeast Conference baseball team. But first, today's top stories. In Mount Pleasant, the Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing to discuss the rezoning of a piece of land from agricultural to industrial, following a decision by the Board of Supervisors to change the county land use map. The purpose of the meeting was to gather information from neighbors and establish recommendations for a conditional rezoning agreement. The request to rezone 8 acres of land came from Chad Ebling, who plans to construct a concrete readiness plan. Concerns raised during the meeting include noise, sites, road usage, dust control, and water runoff. The commission collaborated with the county engineer's suggestions and neighbor input to propose conditions for the rezoning, such as a tree line, a buffer zone, dust control measures, and route restrictions. Despite objections from neighbors, the commission approved the recommendation for conditional rezoning, which will now be considered by the Board of Supervisors. The board will determine whether to approve, reject, or modify the proposed conditions during their upcoming meeting. During the second meeting of the Brighton Fire Board, a 5-1 vote was passed in favor of applying for a Riverboat Foundation grant to construct a new $250,000 building near the fire station. The proposed facility would accommodate emergency rescue equipment and larger fire trucks that the current station cannot house. The motion marks the first formal policy recommendation from the newly established Fire Advisory Board. However, the City Council representative, Kathy Rich, voted against it, expressing concerns about the city's ability to afford the maintenance costs and requesting more information regarding alternative building options and long-term budget implications. Rich emphasized the importance of accurate numbers, a solid recommendation, and trust building policies. Despite opposition, Fire Chief Bill Farmer and others argued for applying for the grant with hopes of securing funding through community contributions and in-kind labor. The decision on the motion will be made by municipal elected officials at a meeting on July 17th. The week ending July 9, 2023 brought much-needed precipitation to western Iowa, allowing farmers in the state to have 5.3 days suitable for field work, according to the USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service. Activities included hay cutting, crop spraying, and some farmers starting to harvest oats for grain. The rainfall was widespread, with some areas experiencing above-average totals. State climatologist Justin Gleason noted that the temperatures were unseasonably cool, with negative departures of up to 7 degrees in the northeast. Topsoil moisture condition was rated as 15% very short, 42% short, 42% adequate, and 1% surplus, while subsoil moisture condition was rated as 19% very short, 45% short, 35% adequate, and 1% surplus. Corn silking progress to 22% ahead of last year, and soybeans were blooming and setting pods ahead of schedule. The second cutting of alfalfa hay was also ahead of last year's progress. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the weather and sports.
Protection is important, especially when you're talking about your dreams, which is why we're going to keep you covered with plans that can save you up to 23% when you bundle your home and auto. That's protection.
Bring the kids and share the memories from steam engines, antique cars and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Maybe your memories are of great food from the North Village to the Log Village, or learning how to square dance over at the Dance Barn. This is the place where memories are made. Make plans now to enjoy the history of the past at the 2023 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion, August 31st through September 4th in Mount Pleasant. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
At 5 Star Community Credit Union, we want to help you lead a better life. We offer competitive rates and convenient appointment times for all kinds of loans: auto, recreational vehicles, home equity, line of credit, holiday, and personal loans. We make it easy to build your credit and enjoy the good things in life.
We invite you to join 5 Star Community Credit Union. We are community-minded and member-focused. Come visit our locations in West Burlington and Mount Pleasant, or online at 5starcu.org. Federally insured through the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Hello and welcome back to Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. Coming up, your 5-day forecast, but first, obituaries. Holly Lynn McCall of Iowa City passed away on July 11th at the age of 34. A memorial service will be held at 11 a.m. July 15th at the Jones and Eden Funeral Home. Jared Samuel Hills of Cedar Rapids passed away on July 10th at the age of 86. A funeral service will be held at 11 a.m. July 14th at the Asbury United Methodist Church. Murdoch Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. Larry Zahner of Burlington passed away on July 8th at the age of 66. A celebration of life will be held at a later date. Murphy Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. Jennifer Dorothy of Mount Pleasant passed away on July 10th at the age of 69. A funeral service will be held at 10:30 a.m. July 15th at the First Presbyterian Church. Olson Powell Chapel is in charge of the arrangements. Audrey Irene Casina of Brighton passed away on July 9th. A celebration of life will be held at a later date. Ruth Ann Berkshire of New London passed away on June 15th at the age of 87. A graveside service will be held at a later date at Trinity Cemetery. Amy Jo Walcott of Richland passed away on July 3rd at the age of 53. A funeral service will be held at 11 a.m. July 8th at Richland Methodist Church. Gold Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. Clarence Allen Kroll of Wayland passed away on July 7th at the age of 96. A graveside service will be held at 2 p.m. July 13th at Forest Home Cemetery. Murphy Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. Harold G. Wagler of Kelowna passed away on July 2nd at the age of 92. A funeral service will be held at 11 a.m. July 8th at Washington Mennonite Church. Beatty Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. That was obituaries. It is now time for your 5-day forecast. The warm weather has made its return with a high of 86 and mostly sunny skies today. Tomorrow will be the warmest day of the week at 88, and there is a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Looking at the weekend, it'll be 86 and mostly sunny on Saturday, and 85 and partly cloudy on Sunday. Finally, on Monday, it'll be 80 degrees and partly cloudy. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at sports.
Unbelievable amount of devastation. I've never seen anything like it.
We had a beautiful barn that was gone in 20 minutes.
Farm Bureau stepped up right away and said, hey, we got you and we'll be there for you.
We were taken care of. Now we could get on to repairing and rebuilding.
I tell everybody about Farm Bureau.
We're fortunate to say we have good coverage with good people doing it.
Contact Farm Bureau agents Tony Starr and Mike Welcher in Mount Pleasant today.
At Brown Shoe Fit, we pride ourselves on traditional sit and fit service that's been serving the Mount Pleasant area since 1952. At Brown's, we have shoes for the whole family. From kids to adults, we carry the finest footwear for every occasion. Whether you're looking for something for work, casual wear, or exercise, we've got you covered. And don't forget about our selection of safety toe footwear for both men and women. Come visit us 6 days a week and experience the best in traditional sit and fit service. Brown Shoe Fit, where quality and tradition meet.
Welcome back to Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. It is now time for sports. The 2023 All-Conference Baseball team for the Southeast Conference has been announced after the conclusion of the season for the 6 SEC teams. In the postseason, none of the teams made it to the final round. Mount Pleasant advanced the furthest among the Union area squads, defeating Fairfield in the opening round, but losing to state qualifying Marion in the second. Washington was eliminated by Davenport Assumption in the first round. Burlington dominated SEC play in the regular season, finishing with a 13-1 record, followed by Fairfield at 9-6 and Mount Pleasant at 8-7. The All-ICC teams reflected the team's standings, with Burlington leading with 7 selections, Mount Pleasant with 5 picks, and Washington with 2 selections. Zach Vanghouse from Mount Pleasant was the lone first-team pick as a utility player. Vanghouse showcased his versatility by excelling in pitching, fielding, and hitting. He batted .371 with team high in runs, hits, and RBIs, and had an ERA of 2.07. Mount Pleasant also had a quartet of second-team selections and 2 honorable mentions. For Washington, Ethan Patterson was selected as an infielder, leading the team in batting average, hits, runs, and RBIs. Isaac Vetter was chosen as a utility player for his contributions both on the mound and at the plate. The complete All-SEC list, including the All-Academic team, can be found at southeastiowaunion.com. That's the news for Southeast Iowa. I've been your host, Nick Steffens. This has been your news break, and I'll see you next time.